This is it. 1 week left and only 3 spots remain in the inaugural Overwatch League season playoffs. Pressure is mounting for the Gladiators, Fusion, Outlaws, and Dynasty. Who will punch their ticket to glory?
Gladiators come back with a big reverse sweep. That is going to be massive for their playoff hopes.
The LA Valiant are the second team to lock in a playoff seat and a first-round bye. Can they complete the perfect 10-0 stage?
The Valiant just firing on all cylinders. Currently undefeated.
Plus, the rivalry intensifies between Houston and Philly in a must-win match for both teams.
And this matchup really delivers.
No kidding.
And this is your captain speaking. Watchpoint Airlines has nonstop service to the playoffs. This is Watchpoint. We're back, baby. Welcome to MLG's Watchpoint. I'm Chris Puckett, joined by Monty. We got Doa and, of course, Mr. X. How you guys doing today?
I'm feeling great, Puckett. How are you?
I feel fantastic. Nothing but wins today.
I was almost going to welcome you back, but you were here last week. I keep losing track.
I was actually going to ask if he was here last week or not, because I forget when he's here.
Believe it or not, I've worked more than all of you combined. Now, guys, we're here to get set for the final week of the inaugural Overwatch League season. Of course, it's the final week of the regular season before we get to the playoffs. Some playoff spots are still up for grabs, though, in the season picture. We got the NYXL and Valiant already locked up at the top 2 spots. And Boston has clinched a playoff spot as well. And with that huge map differential, you got to think that London would have to melt down completely to drop out of the postseason. But the Gladiators and Fusion will attempt to hold off the Houston Outlaws and Seoul Dynasty here in Week 5. The Fusion will get a chance to knock the Outlaws out of the playoff contention when the 2 teams face off on Thursday. The battle between these 2 teams has gone to 5 maps in all 3 previous meetings, with Philly coming out on top each time. So, Doa, what's the biggest factor in this matchup this time around?
I mean, there's one easy word that involves 3 letters that I can say. It's EQO, man. I mean, check out the win rate with EQO versus not EQO on the Philadelphia Fusion. It's kind of insane, actually. They're 55-21 with him, 14-31 without him. Ooh. There is a massive difference in map score without EQO. I had no idea it was that big when I asked about that blew my mind, actually, when I saw that. And not only that, this guy brings a lot of versatility to the squad, too. His Pharah stats, especially, are quite good. In fact, look at first and second in everything except for deaths, with which he is 3rd. So yeah, put EQO in. He can play a lot of heroes. He plays them all very well. Yeah, Carpe's a big star. He's the MVP candidate and all that, but clearly Philly needs EQO.
Well, I think it's his shot calling that really helps them out.
Absolutely.
There's something about his communication. Of course, he can make the big plays himself, so he's a double threat in that way. From a DPS perspective, being able to be a star-level big playmaker and contribute that much to your team's comm is, I think, invaluable for the Fusion.
I think it's all his damage he's been dealing. EQO definitely stood out as one of the league's top Pharahs in Week 4. And Monty, when you look at the map pool here for this matchup, how much Pharah do you expect to be seeing?
Well, you can look at this map pool, and it's not going to be a lot of Pharah-dominant maps, except for the 3 points on Lijiang Tower, all of which you can play Pharah on, but not standard across any of the others. And as you can see later in this series, Houston Outlaws moving towards 100% win rate. And even though they don't have great win rates on Blizzard World and Horizon this stage, there's still Junkrat maps, there's still Widowmaker maps. So I think Houston probably will take this to a map 5 once again, but I think Philly wins in the end. So I think we'll see another good matchup between these 2 teams, but Houston will come up short.
You know, I'll be cheering on the Outlaws because Linkser leads all Widowmakers in critical hits with 627. His opponent, Carpe, on the other side, comes in with 458 headshots. Not so bad, but guys, that's a fact. Mr. X, let's talk about the big question here in this matchup.
I'm going to be looking at the flex supports for both of these teams. Specifically, obviously, Raucus and Boombox, not Boombox in the Philadelphia Fusion, Raucus on the Houston Outlaws. I think both of these players, the flex support role is so important. I would say like main tank, then flex support is kind of like what you're looking at in terms of importance. Both of these guys kind of float around the league average. You're going to need to see both of them step their games up. Now, if one of them outperforms the other greatly, you're going to see that team walk away with this win. You can see as Zenyatta in stage 4 and Raucous does a little bit more healing. The damage goes over to Boombox, and then everything else kind of dominated by Boombox. I think you need to see Raucous at least match Boombox if the Outlaws are going to stay in it.
One team that'll be rooting for the Houston Outlaws in that matchup is the Seoul Dynasty. Seoul needs 2 wins this week, plus 2 losses from the Gladiators or the Fusion, and that makes the Friday contest between Seoul and LA potentially huge. The Dynasty defeated the Gladiators in stage 1 and 2, but Los Angeles has definitely been playing better than Seoul recently, Mr. X. So what must Seoul do if they want to have a chance this time around?
All right, this is going to sound really simple, but they need to keep Fissure off of the supports. Seoul Dynasty, every time they play the Gladiators or a lot of these other teams with great aggressive main tanks, they just leave their supports out to dry in the backline. They need to have somebody peel for their supports here. They cannot allow Fissure to get into the backline, cause a lot of problems for whether it's, Gambler, Toby, and Jaehong, or else they're going to have a lot of trouble.
But this has been a consistent problem since the early stages.
They haven't done it all year.
They haven't done it. New York exposed this weakness very early on. It was then capitalized on by London and basically everybody else following suit. So I think it'll take a miracle. Maybe Kuki is the miracle worker who is going to save the supports. Probably not, though.
No.
Plus, there's also the bigger problem where really what they need is not necessarily to beat Gladiators, which they do, but they have to somehow convince Shanghai to beat the Gladiators as well. Otherwise, I think they're looking at the Fusion.
Just how much did those supports die last week? Well, Jaehong died the second most in week 4, so keeping those supports up is going to be massive here if Seoul wants to walk away with the victory. So, Doa, if the Dynasty can somehow stop Fissure, what else can the Gladiators do to counter here in this matchup?
Well, the Gladiators can flow like water, and in that way, they will use hydration and his infinite hero pool to overcome Seoul. That's I've been working on that for hours. Here you go. Yeah, that's right. Doomfist is just one of the many heroes that hydration can play. He's a great Brigitte, as we've seen. Play the Pharah as well, and if you look at the stats, this guy has a lot of percentage on a lot of different heroes, and the thing is, he reminds me a little bit of a Libero in that he's very much a jack-of-all-trades player, where he can get the job done, whatever composition you want to use on pretty much whatever hero you want to use. A lot of Genji, a lot of Junkrat as well. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more Doomfist as time goes on, but I think they've definitely got the Swiss Army knife in terms of this flexible DPS player to take Seoul apart.
Yeah, I think hydration, too, when it comes in, the Doomfist has been huge for him, and I'm not sure if Seoul is going to be able to adapt to a lot of the weird picks and strategies that the Gladiators are very well practiced on, and, I think they kind of given up. Watching them...
It's hard to argue with that at this point. Yeah. You talk about getting out of their supports, too, man. Doomfist certainly can do a good job of that. Yeah. So.
They don't really look like they want to win right now. Let's put it that way.
I think maybe they want to.
I don't see a lot of fire in their play. I think that so many roster and positional moves throughout the season have really taken the wind out of their sails. I think that you're going to be looking for Season 2 of Overwatch League if you want to see a Seoul Dynasty.
What a downer.
Well, it's a team that's also had great infrastructure, right? They've had tons of coaching, they've had everything in place to be successful.
It is very confusing.
Yeah. They just haven't been able to put it together.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
All we know is they had a tough time, and they need a lot of help here in the final week of action. Now, the Gladiators and the Fusion each need 1 win to lock up a spot in the season playoffs. But let's not forget about the Stage 4 playoffs here, fellas. The Gladiators are looking great there as well. They could make their 2nd straight stage playoffs, and their LA counterparts, the Valiant, they're looking even better. Valiant are looking to complete a perfect 10-0 Stage 4. And one of the teams standing in their way is the 4th place Dallas Fuel. Dallas sits at 5-3 with hopes of salvaging their season by finishing strong here. They'll take on a Valiant squad Friday night that has won 9 straight matches and recently locked up the Pacific Division crown. So, Monty, what is the Fuel's best path to success against the red-hot Valiant?
I think it comes down to all of the players on the Dallas Fuel have been playing really well. I mean, we talk about Siegel and some of his statistics, but I think somebody who's flown under the radar has been Unko, honestly, because Unko, moving from the Valiant to the Dallas Fuel, has put together a very strong Stage 4. This guy is up at the top in most statistical Zen categories right now. It seems like he's calling more from the team from my conversations with them. So this guy is really coming back into his own, and that's great to see because coming into Overwatch League, he was up there with Chips Hyen as in the discussion for best non-Korean support players. And as you can see, top 5 in basically the big categories. I think that's going to be one of their big keys.
It's a trade with the Valiant that it ends up working out for both teams, right? The Valiant get Custa. Custa's been a huge addition to that team. And then the Fuel get Unko. I think Taimu needs to be huge in this series for the Dallas Fuel playing Widowmaker. I think Soon has started to play much better over the last few weeks in that Widowmaker role. But Taimu just needs to, kind of keep playing the way he is right now. He's a player who's a little bit shaky at times, but the last few games from Taimu have been very, very strong. If he plays well, he's going to give the Fuel a chance in this matchup.
And no Riptire survives against him right now either. It is amazing at how consistently he's shooting those Riptires down against enemy jump pads.
Taimu is back. I'm so happy.
It's really fun to see him play very good.
We missed you,
It is.
We did.
That's right. One thing that isn't necessarily back, but maybe something that Dallas never had until Stage 4 is a great main tank. And now they've got OG. I mean, this guy has actually been a really, really good benefit for this team since he's come into the league. His stats on both Reinhardt and Winston are really, really good. He's fitting to the team well. Check out the stats. On Reinhardt, look at that. First for final blows per 10 and charge elims per 10. Top 5 for the other stats on that, right? This is Stage 4, of course, we're talking about here. And on the Winston as well, it's actually getting even better. First for hero damage done, first for final blows per 10, second limb, second jump pack, kills, fourth for deaths. I mean, this guy is easily one of the best main tanks in the league right now. One of the big reasons Dallas is coming up in a big way. Yes.
Play an offensive Orisa.
Maybe.
Why haven't we seen it?
Who cares?
Bring it back. Bring it back. The Coco
special, dude. The Dallas Fuel special.
Saving it for the final week of the regular
season.
season.
In the map pool right now, so that's why.
I like that strat.
Yeah,
well, Dallas has a tough week with Seoul and LA on the schedule. While the Valiant could use week 5 as a tune-up for the postseason, Custa, Agilities, Kareev, and Fate spoke to us about winning the Pacific Division title and about how they still have much more to prove.
Every map Agilities has been such an important factor. Custa getting 2! That's how we do it down under!
Kareev, wow. Space making his presence done.
Oh, Jack! And the Valiant will take the series 2-1.
But more importantly, they are going to the season playoffs. They're officially locked in.
The Valiant just firing on all cylinders. Currently undefeated.
Valiant have officially made it into the top tier.
Solidifying that spot in the playoffs is really nice, and just being number 1 in the region, we get that extra semi-final bye, so we've earned that for ourselves.
Yeah, it's crazy that we could be just guaranteed 3rd or 4th place right off the bat. So I'm proud of us as well.
제가 꿈이 이번 시즌 우승이라고 생각해가지고 그 꿈에 다가가기 위한 저커를 운영했습니다.
Valiant had a really good vision of Overwatch League after the first half, and then they did a really good job of recognizing the things that needed to change to make a successful team. And the proof is in the pudding at this point. We're going to playoffs.
They retooled the roster. They beat the Gladiators in the Battle of LA. Absolute credit to the coaching staff.
Almost looking like an entirely different team.
That was the big turning point.
Stage playoffs is going to be really important for us. It's putting your flag into the ground a little bit, sort of say, we're here to stay.
제가 시즌 플레이오프 때 약간 피하고 싶은 팀은 없는 것 같아요.
I think a playoffs match between us and Gladiators would be really hyped.
Yeah, that'd be pretty amazing.
저희가 지금도 잘하는데 더 잘해지면은 진짜 충분히 우승할 수 있어요.
Think we can do it?
Yeah, honestly, it's not an easy path, but I think we've shown this stage that we can do anything.
제가 파이널에 있는 그 경기장에 가면은 일단 되게 떨릴 것 같아요. 근데 저는 개인적으로 떨림을 되게 좋아하는 사람이라서 일단 되게 좋을 것 같고요.
That's the thing that we've been playing video games for the last 10 years. Just stand on that stage with holding the trophy up, so it'd mean everything.
기억이 남게 될 것 같고요. 그냥 진짜 좋을 것 같아요.
Consistent performances all season long have built up to this point.
Every match still matters for the Valiant, but things are looking great.
We all know about Space's high-ranking diva, but he's also been flexing on Zarya this stage. He's second with an impressive 52% average energy and top 7 out of 24 in several other categories. Before the Overwatch League playoffs, Space will be also trying out to make the World Cup team for Team USA, and that is where we begin today's Six Stack. Newly appointed Team USA head coach Arrow announced that 25 of America's best players will be invited to try out for a spot on Team USA's Overwatch World Cup team. Players will be split up into 4 trial teams named after the presidents on Mount Rushmore. Oh, that's cute. Baby Bay's tweet revealed the 6 players will be representing Team George Washington, which includes himself, Shock teammates Moth and Super, Gladiators Hydration, Cool Matt, and Rockus from the Houston Outlaws. Mr. X, is this the best lineup Team USA can put together to compete against the rest of the world?
It's part of it, I think. You know, you're allowed 12 players on the World Cup roster. I believe only 7 can be active. So I think it really is going to come down to like Super and Moom at the main tank, Cool Matt and Space at off tank. And then DPS, I think you're looking at Sinatra probably a lock. But then after that, I think it's a toss-up. Maybe we see some players come in from contenders. So I think you can definitely make a stronger roster than that exact 6 players. But I think you'll see a lot of those 6 players represented on Team USA.
I know I'm going to miss Jake this year. Let's continue, though, with Baby Bay at number 2. San Francisco has shown a lot of potential in the second half of the Overwatch League. However, they have 5 talented DPS players all on one roster. Monty, if you could only keep 2, which 2 does Shock have to keep for Season 2?
Ooh, this is so hard because I think you definitely keep Architect given his raw talent. And then do you take Dante or do you take Sinatra? I think Dante showed incredible growth throughout this season, but we haven't seen him much in Stage 4. And Sinatra's been getting better after sort of faltering at the start of his debut after turning 18. I think I take Sinatra, but realistically, I keep most of those players if I'm the San Francisco Shock. There's too much upside under these young players, so I was going to pass the buck on that one. I keep most of them as it is. I keep Baby Bay, too.
I bet Dante's a good value. Let's keep this rolling, though, guys. Number 3, we talked plenty about Seoul's immense pedigree and talent, but they've never qualified for a stage playoff and currently have just a real slim chance to make the season playoff. So, Doa, I know you love these guys, but are they the most disappointing team in the Overwatch League this season?
It's been tough, and I'm probably going to make people angry when I say this, but I do not think that Seoul Dynasty is the most disappointing team in Overwatch League. I think they're the second most disappointing team behind the Shanghai Dragons. How can you get more disappointing than 0-40 in an entire season, which is what they're going to be at the end of this week? And the disappointment for them began before the season even began, right? I mean, they didn't have the best players in China on their team. I don't know if we were expecting much out of them to begin with, but to go 0-40, you cannot tell me there is any more disappointing result for any team in the league than that.
Check those direct deposits.
Come on. So no.
J-Punk's mail the money back.
Those deposits have nothing to do with it. That money is clean.
Most disappointing team. They can't win anything.
They're not.
Seoul and Shanghai can watch the playoffs.
Shanghai can
together,
literally
guys.
not win anything.
Halfway through this stack at number 4, it's all about our fan favorite Seagull. After coming in and out of the lineup all season long, this bird has been dominant in Stage 4, showing off his skills on both DPS and flex tanks. Now, guys, we talked about his diva a little bit. He remains first in the 4 major offensive categories in Stage 4, but he's also turning heads on the Hanzo. Seagull is top 3 in 4 major categories as the arrow-firing mercenary. So, Mr. X, which role do we want Seagull on moving forward?
Oh, you want him on Diva. He looks like a tremendous Diva player, one of the better ones in the league since he started picking up the hero. And then I also think Mickey definitely fits the Brigitte role well. I think that's where you see Dallas Fuel at their strongest. Seagull contributing to a ton of kills playing Diva. Mickey being very aggressive on Brigitte. At least in this meta, that's what you want to see them do.
5 on the stack. Fissure faced Gesture in the London Spitfire for the 3rd time this last week. And, of course, they earned their 3rd win against his former team. He also had some strong words after the Gladiators' victory.
Does this matchup still have a special place in your heart or motivate you on a different level than any other team in this league?
뭐 제가 할 수 있는 말은 하나예요. 저를 판 사람 후회하겠죠.
I only have one thing to say. London, are you guys regretting it?
There's no one more entertaining than Fissure. Take a look at the Winston stats from Stage 2 through 4. Fissure leads in hero damage done, deaths, and jump back kills. Gesture leads in eliminations and final blows, and they're tied for first in primal rage kills. So Doa, should London in fact regret trading Fissure instead of Gesture here?
I mean, yes and no, right? I mean, these guys are pretty comparable stats-wise, but you can't deny that, like, Fissure took the Gladiators that were a pretty mediocre team overall and then elevated them to, like, one of the best teams in the league. Now, could he have been in a position to make all those plays and kind of lead a team like that on the London Spitfire, where we know things are a bit wonky in the coaching situation from what we've seen? I'm not so sure. If you take Gesture and put him on the Gladiators, I'm not so sure he'd be able to make those big individual plays that Fissure makes. So it is tough to say. I think probably London might be regretting it a little bit, but it really has to do, I kind of think, with what Gesture is allowed to do in their coaching scheme.
Number 6, the final stacker. The 9 maps for the postseason map pool will be randomly selected in a lottery this week, and pretty exciting. For the best of 3 match playoff series, the first 2 matches will be predetermined from this map pool, and if a 3rd match is necessary, the higher seed picks 3 maps, the lower seed chooses the other 2. So, Monty, what do you think about this new map selection process?
And to be clear, this is a best of 3 of best of 5. So when we draw these maps, I think it's all right. I'm glad that at least for the 3rd best of 5, should we go to it, that the higher seed is going to get an advantage in terms of selection. I personally will pretty much always favor loser selects or any sort of map draft. But at least we're getting the variety within the first 2 best of 5, so that if there is a strong map, there's still a chance that the team can play on that map if they get there. But again, I think loser selection is generally the better way to go.
Unique and awesome in my book. Coming up next, guys, we're taking a trip to the playoffs on the world's classiest airline, Watchpoint Airlines. Plus, it's coming down to the wire in our match predictions. Monty and Doe will have one last chance to catch Captain Mr. X here. This is Watchpoint.
Welcome to Watchpoint Airlines, your best and safest choice for non-stop service to the Overwatch League playoffs.
Attention! Please remove all team skins before entering the metal detector. Also, please place all laptops, RIP tires, and turrets in separate bins. Thank you.
We got a bag check here for the NYXL.
Another bag, another day. Exciting stuff. Let's see what's in this one.
Oh.
All right. Standard. That's weird. Well, what is this?
Oh, that looks horrible.
Oh, this thing smells awful. How long has this thing been in here? Oh, who puts a sandwich in checked baggage?
Yes, the NYXL qualified for the playoffs before they even played a match in week 2 of stage 4. Looks like Pine won't be getting to eat this. And he may not feed much at all in the postseason with the way that Savielby is playing Widowmaker right now. He has the fewest deaths of all Widowmakers this stage. Savielby is also 3rd in the limbs and crit hit accuracy and 5th in final blows. It's safe to say he's flying high on the French assassin.
Oh, what do we got here? First class ticket. Looks like they're headed straight to round 2. This team's been on vacation for a while. Well, I hope that the sandbagging recently won't be holding them back and this team can reach their peak potential in the postseason. I mean, seriously. I don't see anything for Ark in this bag either. He's been missing for the last 5 matches. Animo has played pretty well, though, in his place. He has the fewest deaths per 10 of any Mercy this season, though Arc is number 2. Their healing numbers are comparable, but when you look at players' resed and assist numbers, Arc starts to pull away. Plus, they've lost 2 of their last 3 matches without Arc, so if they want to crash and burn this season, probably want to bring him back for the postseason.
Oh. I think they'll be fine.
It's disgusting.
Now boarding. Watchpoint Airlines flight number 1, non-stop service to the inaugural Overwatch League playoffs. We'd like to welcome all Torbjorns and those passengers traveling with a baby diva to board first at gate number 6.
Oh, hey. This is Watchpoint Airlines, right? Direct to the playoffs?
Yes, it is. Yes. How can I help you, sir?
Thank you so much. I need to know, do you have any seats on this plane by chance? I could really use that trip to the playoffs.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. This is a full flight.
Damn it. You know, I was booked on this flight all season.
Oh, really?
You know, I thought in advance. I was booked all season, but you know, I lost my seat due to some consistently inconsistent play. But I think if you just let me on this plane, I can really make some waves. I just have to get to the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You see, the thing is all the other teams on this flight had more consistent play throughout the season, and you just haven't had a consistent enough DPS star. You see, in Stage 4, Fleta is 12th among Widowmakers in hero damage, elims, and final blows per 10 minutes. He's not dying much, but his critical hit accuracy is 17th, and he's 14th in solo kills. That's quite a fall off for the one-time MVP favorite. So, as you can see, sir, it's a long process getting a seat on this plane, and I'm afraid you just don't quite cut it right now.
You know, I understand what you're saying about Fleta, but we finally have a main tank that we can rally around. We really think that might be able to get us deep in this playoffs if we can just get there. As you can see, Kuki is 3rd in elims on Reinhardt this stage. That's pretty damn good. He ranks 8 or better in all major categories, and it's been a huge boost for us compared to the main tanks we had before. You know, I think he deserves a shot to protect Fleta better, and then we can see that DPS improvement. But you know, I have to get on this plane if I want to show that to you.
Perhaps you're not hearing me, sir. Perhaps there's a bit of a communication issues here. In fact, I think there might have been one all season long. Look at me. Look at me. This is a full flight.
Do you think you have any connections you can look at for me? Perhaps you can work some magic. Perhaps a connection through Los Angeles or Philadelphia, if you wouldn't mind.
I can check. I can check. Oh, there is a possibility here. I can put you on standby, but it looks like Fusion and Gladiators would have to lose their next 2 matches, and you would have to win your next 2 matches. But if that happens, maybe I can get you through on this flight. But for now, sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to go and take a seat next to the Houston Outlaws, if you don't mind, please.
Welcome to Watchpoint Airlines. In preparation for takeoff, please power down and stow all Zen Orbs and Venom Mines. Make sure your sentry turret is in upright and locked position. Excuse me, sir. Are you in your assigned seat?
I'll take a champagne, please.
I'm sorry, sir, but this is a coach ticket. Champagne is only for first-class customers.
No, this cannot be. I'm a first-class caliber team. Especially in this stage, you know, we are in the Brigitte meta. Prophet is now dealing the most hero damage and healing per 10 minutes on this new support hero, and he's top 5 in everything else. Not to mention the fact that Brigitte is one of the most important heroes in Stage 4. Plus, I had to just let go of a bunch of players to even get in through security. Look, we've been the second best team the entire season long. You know, I deserve to be sitting here with all the other great teams.
I understand, sir, and I realize that you were the second best team for quite a while, but right now you're in 4th place, and your bird ring simply hasn't been good enough to sit up here with the rest of the league's best. Bird ranked is 16th in hero damage per 10 minutes on the Widowmaker in Stage 4. He's only 8th in elims and final blows, and while he may be the 3rd fewest in deaths, London's admittance to first class has been severely hindered by Birdrink's inability to get back to cruising altitude since he took that break back in Stage 3. So let's go ahead and get you out of that chair and back into coach.
This cannot stand. Can I at least bite a champagne from you?
You can't be serious. Champagne is complimentary. We don't give it for profit.
I am serious. And don't call me prophet.
That's it. Philadelphia Fusion, yet another Game 5, yet another win in this series.
And this matchup really delivered.
No kidding.
We have kind of like a personal rivalry with them, I'd say, because we've come so close to beating them in the past.
I don't think it's about them. It's just about us because we are an inconsistent team. And that's what happened when we played against Houston.
This final match is a chance for us to flip the script and show that we can take it from them.
No.
This match has some major impact.
We're on the bubble for playoffs. We have to win out. We have to beat Philadelphia to have a chance of making playoffs. So, you know, it's just what we got to do.
I mean, it's playoffs, and that's what we set our goal on.
It'd be a little bit of revenge for us if we were able to keep them out of playoffs and take this last win against them.
Linkser says no way and stops this push cold. Carpe gets the kill. This guy's on a tear already.
That DPS matchup between Carpe and Linkser on the Widow has always been super explosive.
I think Linkser is a very good player. We're gonna be looking to shutting down their backline, so Linkser feels more pressure.
Linkser really coming alive on the Widowmaker here.
I think Carpe is the main factor.
Like, you see these game-changing plays from Carpe time and time again, clutch out a series. The question for us is, can we stop that?
Moral of the story is Carpe, Carpe, Carpe.
Carpe doing the deeps now. This is Carpe's world.
Linkser won't be able to pop off if we deny.
Linkser's better than Carpe.
Jake with that Riptire could end it right here. Dodge it. Oh, there's both supports.
He's like really good with Junkrat. His Genji is not that good.
I'll be looking to shut him down in the match.
Neptuno, the bloodthirsty support himself.
Neptuno loves the pistol, and so does Banning, so I'm looking forward to like some mid-air battles.
If we get one fighter jet battle, then I would be really satisfied, honestly.
Will they be able to right their path and get the victory over the Fusion?
They might have the series 3-0 in the season so far, but this matchup can go either way. That the overall record doesn't mean anything.
It's gonna be a 3-2 again for us. And sorry, I'm just saying it now. They're gonna lose.
We have this chance to finish strong against them and like make a statement that we are the better team.
We're the better team, so I don't know what to say.
Just some series in the Overwatch League that you know are going to be awesome when they come up. All I gotta say now is can't wait till Stage 4.
The wait is just about over, Dilla. The Stage 4 matchup is almost here, and you heard EQO saying he plans to shut down Jake in this match. EQO actually outranks the Jake-Rat in every major category except Riptire kills, and the Fusion Junkrat is 3rd in the league in elims per 10 in Stage 4. Speaking of 3rd, our friend Doa is in 3rd place here in the Watchpoint predictions, and there's just 12 matches left for Monty and Doa to try and catch Mr. X here.
It's not gonna happen now.
It's gonna take some bold picks, fellas, to catch up to Mr. X with a nice cushion at 175 correct picks. Monty, you're 3 back. Doa, you're 5 back. So let's see how you fellas got your picks going here in the final week of the regular season. On Wednesday, everyone has the reverse sweep Kings, the LA Gladiators over the Shanghai Dragons. Big surprise there. Valiant taking out the Shock, and Dallas Fuel defeating their old rival Seoul Dynasty. No one will make up any ground on our first day, so let's see who you got on Thursday. Everyone, again, picking the same teams. It looks like we got Philly, London, and New York. Unless Monty and Doa make some dramatic picks on Saturday and Friday, you can go ahead and crown Matt the champion. How do you feel about that, Monty?
I think that last week was the week in which we really could have made up, because a lot of those matches were really like down to the wire. I think especially like look at both London matches, how close they were against the LA teams. Of course, you have like Boston over Seoul. You know, that was a little bit Interesting, New York.
Interesting is one way to describe it, I suppose.
You guys had some bad picks last week. We get it, Monty.
I was not predicting Gladiators over New York.
All right.
But regardless, the point is, I don't think a lot of these picks are controversial this week. So
yeah,
I don't see you passing Mr. X on the total here, but I'll give you bonus points if you can pick our winner of the Stage 4 playoffs. It's going down on Sunday, and I want to hear from each of you. Monty, let's be nice and start left to right. Where are you going today? Who wins the Stage 4 playoff?
I think it is going to be the LA Valiant. However, this does come with the caveat that we see the same New York that we saw earlier. Because if you remember, last stage playoffs, NYXL played the Valiant in the semis and then absolutely bodied them. They came in with tailored strategies, trying to push out Agility's Pharah, and it was very effective. So I think New York will win if New York goes hard. If it's the same New York we've seen so far, I think Valiant will coast to a comfortable win in this stage playoffs.
Well, Monty, guess what? I picked the Valiant for the exact same reasons, actually, in that they want it really bad. They're looking good right now. And like you said, if New York decides to really play as hard as they can, sure, they can win it. Of course they can. But if they decide to use this as more of a scouting opportunity with the other teams that they might be facing in the playoffs, which I think is much more likely, then yeah, Valiant has a real chance of taking the stage.
If it's not broke, don't change it. I went with NYXL. Like, I've gone with every single stage. I've been fairly accurate because they've been there every single stage. I think with the money on the line, why not add to your bank accounts? They're going to go hard. Even if they don't show some of the tailored strats for some of these teams, I still think when they're playing serious and going as hard as possible, they'll be able to beat them. So I think NYXL takes the crown.
The question isn't, would a NYXL that's going hard win this stage playoffs? The question is, will NYXL go hard?
They will.
Monty,
it's all about the...
They're going hard. NYXL back-to-back champs. They're going to do it again. They'll get that million too, Monty. Don't worry, guys. That's going to do it for this episode of MLG's Watchpoint. Make sure you check out the final week of the Overwatch League regular season. It begins Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on OverwatchLeague.com. And, of course, your Overwatch League app. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday.